now it's over with. I'm ready to make a decision.
Things happen in life, some things you can't control. But in this case, I could have controlled.
I was told the excuse that I had $200 coming to me, and he went to church and got so moved by the Lord that he had to give it to church instead of giving it to me.
My religion is very important to me. My tithe testimony to God is very important also. In that case, that's where the money went to.
I know the fact that we were friends, and I was there when nobody else was there for him.
I made a bad decision, lost a best friend. That's that.
This was somebody that I was friends with, and now it's nothing over money.
Attendant Darlene Rao is suing her neighbor, postal worker Raul Cruz, for damaging her fence and pool by throwing rocks. Raul says he was merely returning the rock she dumped on his property.
All rise. Genesis case number 395 on the calendar in the matter of Rao versus Cruz. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Ms. Rao, you and the defendant are next-door neighbors.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you have adjoining backyards.
Yes.
Adjoining yards. And it is your claim that Mr. Cruz threw some junk into your backyard and in doing so damaged some of your property. You want him to pay for that property. Mr. Cruz seems to indicate that while he did place some things in your yard,
Yes, ma'am.
he was merely returning the stuff that you had put in his yard.
Correct, Your Honor.
So it sounds to me like you need something else to do. When did the trouble start, Miss Rao, with Mr. Cruz?
When I saw that the land was eroding, I put rocks there to hold up the land, and Mr. Cruz came out and abruptly said, "What are you doing?" And I told him, I said, "We got a problem here. The land is going down the hill."
I don't understand. Do you have a photograph to show
Yes,
what you
I do.
did? I'd like to see it.
That's the photographs of the damage and the
Well, I don't
land.
want to see the dent. I'll take them all. Let me see if I can find what you're talking about. Okay. I'm looking at this picture. Is this the area where you were placing rocks?
Yes,
Okay. On whose property is this?
Mr. Cruz.
So you were placing rocks on Mr. Cruz's property.
There's some of it is my property. I was placing it real close to the fence.
Well, you can't place rocks on his property, Miss Rao.
I was placing it on my property.
No, you also said you were placing it on his property. You cannot place rocks on his property. You cannot put anything on his property.
Okay, I got his permission. When he came out and abruptly said, "What are you doing?" I told him, and he said, "Fine."
Just a second.
Okay.
Before you do it,
That's not true.
okay, if that was true, that was very nice of him. But before you step on somebody else's property to make any alterations, you call them and you ask for permission. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, now I'll start with you, Mr. Cruz. Why don't you tell me what happened?
November 2nd, we got up and I looked out my kitchen window and I actually could see up the slope to her house. And I saw some garbage, branches, tennis shoe. I see PVC pipe. I see a bucket, those black ones when the plants come in. I told my wife I'll be right back. I went to her house, knocked on her door to see if she was there. I've cleaned it 3 times
Now,
already.
that's on your property.
Yes, ma'am. It's on my property.
Is this a back part of your property?
Yes, it's a back with a big slope, like maybe 70 feet long.
And on the other side of the property is?
Her fence in the pool.
Okay, so, the second. So you went over to her house on the 2nd,
Correct.
and nobody answered.
Nobody answered the door, so I went home. I went up the slope. I picked up the black bucket, a couple of root plants, and a couple rocks, and I tossed it over the fence. And that dirt right there that you see was covered all with ice plant. There was no exposure of the PVC pipe. I have a picture, ma'am.
Let me see it, please.
I have a couple pictures. Plus, I also found a rock in my pool. And it's not rock, it's actually cement. Take a look through those. And there's also a picture of a ladder that she uses to climb over my fence. Because she's been in my property. I've seen her 3 times. The last time I saw her, she was just sitting there pulling some ice plants. And I said to my wife, let's just ignore her.
Why were you pulling these ice plants?
I got his permission. I asked him if he would please trim
just said
his
that.
ice plant because it was going under my fence and getting wrapped up in my vines. And he said he wouldn't. I said, "Do you mind if I do it?" He said it was fine. So I hired a guy to trim his ice plant. And I told him at that time I was going to put rocks there to keep the land from going down the hill, and I was going to put plants there, plants with good roots to hold the soil. I was trying to better the property. I would never, ever, I was afraid of him. I'm still afraid of him.
Somebody, Miss Rao, Miss Rao, listen to me. Somebody in your house was using part of his property to dump stuff.
No, Your Honor, no.
Well, otherwise, what you said
I don't
to
know
me.
where the tennis shoe came from. I don't know. I have no idea where a tennis shoe came from. It was a huge man's tennis shoe. I live in my house by myself. I'm trying to clean up the area.
Okay. Now, I would like you to tell me what kind of damage you allege was done as a result of his throwing this debris over, and I want to see your police report, please.
He had a police report.
Well, if you don't have a police report, don't give me anything else.
What is this notice that he came out? I don't know why they didn't do a police report.
I don't
He
know
told Ron why he didn't do a police
Who are you?
report.
My name is Ron Filipponi, Your Honor. I'm Mrs. Darlene's fiance.
Okay.
And I picked up the police report, and the Sheriff's Department did not do a police report on an incident because there was no threats made and there was no physical
Well, that's not true
damage.
because I have a police report here indicating that the alleged violation that Mr. Cruz was complaining of was trespassing, dumping onto property, and repeating violations.
Your Honor, anything I did was try to improve the property. I would never. First of all, I'm afraid of Mr.
Ms.
Cruz.
Rao, you cannot elect to improve somebody else's property.
Was to take care of my property. It's sliding
You
down the hill.
cannot elect to improve someone else's property.
I'm trying to prevent my land from going down. I was just going to put rock there to save the land.
I'm going to say it to you one more time. You can't do that. It's not your property.
Part of it is
Part of it may be, the rest of it is his. You can't go on his property. I put rocks on his property. You can't do that.
I put the rocks on the property because I didn't want to step on that pipe. I was trying to protect from stepping on the pipe, and then I could stand on a rock and move the rather than standing on the soil and sliding down.
You can't do that.
And when I was doing that, I waved. He was in the window in the kitchen, and I waved to him, and he waved back.
On my property. She's on my property waving at me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Elaine Rao says neighbor Raul Cruz damaged her fence with rocks. Raul says it's Darlene who's dumping rocks on his property.
Now, I want you to show me what the damage was to your, whatever you say was damaged as a result of his throwing this stuff all the way down here.
Do you have the pictures of what's damaged?
No, I see a lot of schmutz, but I don't see much damage.
Well, this is part of the vase statue of the angel that he wrote. This is what came off the chair that I passed down from my mom to me. And there's a big bench there. You can see the damage to the big bench there.
You have a picture of the bench before?
Yes, I have a picture of the bench right here before.
Can I see it?
This is before, and this is after I did the work. This is where all his plants were coming up.
No, I just want to
This
see
is
the
after.
picture of the bench
And the
that
bench
you-
is here. And the bench is here. There's all these pictures of the bench.
I also have a picture of her property, and she has like maybe a foot and a half of white rock. If she wants to do something to prevent it from going down, she could build a retaining wall on that white rock she has.
Listen to me. You can't throw the rocks on her property because she got in a snit.
I was just returning it.
I heard you, Mr. Cruz. I mean, I've tried to explain to this lady who doesn't seem to get it. Maybe you get it. Do you get it?
I get it, Your Honor.
I'm glad you get it. Maybe later, you know, in a quiet moment, you give her a glass of red wine. Maybe you can explain it to her that she cannot go on somebody else's property.
That's sound advice.
It's sound advice,
Yes.
right? So you have to stay on your own land. In the meantime, I don't see a picture of this bench that you allege he damaged before.
Can I come up there and show it to you, please?
Sure, show me a picture. Listen to me. I see this
have more.
picture. I see this picture of the bench here,
Right.
damaged.
And
All I
here's the
want
bench.
you to show.
Here's the bench, right here.
I see the bench. I want you to show me a picture of the bench before you say this
Okay,
happened.
there's little snapshots here.
Well, show me.
Sorry, it's far away, but that's the
Well,
bench.
listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me. Pay attention. I can't see anything from this picture. Could you see anything from this picture? The answer is yes or no.
Yes,
Can you
I
see
can.
what the bench looked like in this picture?
Yes.
Well, I can't. I can't.
I
Step
can
back.
see it.
Mr. Cruz, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Sir,
I need it.
you still have a chance. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand.
You can't throw property like you did. And she may be irritating and she may cause you all kinds of problems, but you still cannot resort to that kind of self-help. Listen, Miss Rao, bottom line is you can't put your foot on somebody else's property.
I got permission from him too, and I swear to God, it's the truth. I will, but
Miss
I got
Rao,
permission from him.
Mr. Cruz, you have $1 in your pocket?
Yes, I do.
Take it out. Good. Take the $1. Give it to Miss Rao. That's your judgment for the damage that he did, Miss Rao. You don't seem to get it. I want you to get it. That's all.
I'm going to make the bow.
He gave me permission to put the rocks there, and I swear to God, that's the honest to God truth.
I think she's a good person, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we have differences, but let's just get along. We're neighbors.
He's a con man, and for some reason, I'm a victim.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of White versus Schimmels step forward.
Nurse